Hey guys, welcome to the RM125 full rebuild part 2. Today we're going to be tearing down the engine and assessing damage. This bike was running pretty good until it wasn't. The top end, I'll let that picture speak for itself, and the bottom end, I'll let that noise speak for itself. That's coming from the rod bearing, by the way. Rod bearing came apart and jacked up the top end. So wiseco crank and rod, by the way. I had heard bad things about them, but decided to use it anyway. And I should have trusted my gut and just replaced it. But it's definitely getting a new crank now. Well, I ran into a bit of a time crunch, but I got the cases split off camera. They're all clean. I scrubbed them in the bathtub, but that's not oil anywhere on here. That's just casting marks or corrosion or whatever. But it's all pretty clean, cleaned up pretty nice. All the bearings will need to be replaced. But aside from that, we should be ready to start rebuilding soon enough. I'm still working on cleaning up other stuff. I need to take this clutch basket and clean it. Transmission I could probably clean, but it's turned out pretty good. All right, so this bike has sat for a couple months, just apart, and I went ahead and ordered a wiseco complete engine rebuild kit for it. So we got seals, gaskets, crank bearings. We have a whole piston assembly. It's a forged piston. Hopefully it lasts better than that other cast one did. And I'm not gonna forget to drill the holes for it. And we have the crank under all this. Here's the forged piston as well. It's a Pro Light. And yeah, the holes aren't drilled, so we'll have to drill the holes for the exhaust bridge as well. These crank bearings are looking pretty nice as well. You can't hear anything. This nice crankshaft has 0 up and down play. So right here, I went ahead and removed the crank seal using some methods that I would not recommend. As you can see, it didn't end up working. So, you know, more methods I wouldn't recommend. And eventually we got it out. So that was a big relief when it came out. You can actually see the spring on the seal was loose, just as is. So that could have been part of the problem right there. The seal came right out after using some methods I would not recommend. Here I am scraping off some gasket material on the flywheel side cover. I'm not entirely sure how it got stuck because that shouldn't be getting that hot. After that, I had to remove the intake side gasket material. Yamabond 4 is pretty good because they don't sell gaskets for this for some reason. This is just one side, this is the other side. Pretty straightforward. It's actually pretty clean. It just doesn't look like it for some reason, but yeah, it was nice and clean. Yamabond 4 is pretty good for case halves too. Here I am heating up the bearing, or actually the case around the bearing, and getting ready to press it out. It's very important to get it nice and hot so it comes out easily. Here I am beating out the bearing with a appropriately sized socket and a rubber mallet. Sometimes it can be a bit of a battle, so you just got to be persistent, and you might need to take a break and reheat the case. And now I'm heating the other side to knock the bearing out as well. I don't know if I showed that side, but here I am heating the case to put the bearing in. And as you can see, it just drops right in. Unfortunately, this side needs a little bit of help with a rubber mallet. Here I am getting ready to heat the crank bearing itself in order to put the crankshaft in. It's very important to get this nice and evenly heated. You want it to expand. Make sure you freeze the crank as well so it drops right in, because the less you have to use a rubber mallet on your crankshaft, the better. As you can see, this one dropped right in. Just checking to make sure everything is nice and smooth, and as you can see, it carries its momentum very well. I now have the transmission assembled as well. These gaskets were pretty high quality. They felt very waxy, but they don't leak, so that's good. Now you can see I have the cases together, and everything spins nice and smooth, so that's also very good. This is also a first for me, but I had to drill holes in the piston to relieve the exhaust bridge. I also used 600 grit sandpaper to remove any burrs. So unfortunately, I did not have any more footage of working on the engine itself, but as you can see, the bike runs good, but the jetting was way off. So I worked on the jetting, and now it sounds crispy. I'll attach a video.